So today, we're cracking open the playbook for that one skill that honestly matters more than talent or luck or even motivation. We're talking about unshakable self-discipline. It's the engine that keeps you chugging along long after that first spark of inspiration fades out.
You know the feeling, right? You set a big, ambitious goal, like, this is the year I finally get fit, only to find yourself, a week later, on the couch, 3 hours deep into a streaming binge instead. That little voice that says, I'll start tomorrow. That is procrastination, live and in action.
And really all it is the gap between what you intend to do and what you actually do. It's choosing the easy dopamine hit of just one more video over the important work. And let's be real, it's the single biggest enemy of our goals.
A lot of us think the answer is just, I need more motivation. But motivation is just a spark. It's fantastic for starting a fire, sure, but it's not going to keep you warm all night. Discipline, that's the engine. That's the system that drives you forward whether you feel like it or not. Okay, part 1, laying your foundation. Let's dive into the 2 absolute bedrock strategies for building real discipline.
So, the first strategy is going to sound a little weird. Start ridiculously small. We always aim for these massive, life-altering changes, right? And then we get overwhelmed, we burn out, and we feel totally exhausted. So forget about transformation for a second. Like the slide says, the real goal is just to show up.
So how do you actually guarantee you'll show up? Well, the secret is in this number, 2. It represents something called the 2-minute rule, and it's a game-changing idea from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. Here's how it works. It's so simple. You take any goal you have, and you shrink it down until it takes less than 2 minutes to do. So, study English for an hour becomes read 1 sentence in English. Go to the gym every day becomes put on my workout clothes. It makes starting so easy that you literally can't say no. And that little bit of momentum, that's everything. And that idea leads us directly into our second foundational strategy. See, the problem isn't your goals. Your goals are probably great. The problem is you don't have a system. You don't just magically rise to the level of your ambitions, you fall back on whatever daily processes you have in place.
So you gotta stop obsessing over the goal, that big, scary destination, and just focus on building your system. A goal like become fluent in English, that feels miles away, right? But a system like listen to 1 5-minute podcast clip while I make coffee, now that is a concrete action. That's a game you can win every single day.
All right, part 2, making your habits stick. So you've got your tiny habit, you've got a system, but how do you make sure you don't just give up after a few days?
Well, you have to make your habits attractive. Seriously, discipline should not feel like a punishment. If you dread doing something, you're never, ever going to stick with it. But what if you pair it with something you love? Like, you only let yourself listen to your favorite true crime podcast while you're out for a run. Suddenly, it doesn't feel like such a chore anymore.
And here's an incredibly powerful way to do that. It's called habit stacking. You just link your new habit to one you already have. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will listen to a 5-minute English podcast. That existing habit, the coffee, becomes the trigger for the new one. It's brilliant. Your environment has this huge, kind of invisible influence on your behavior. So, you need to design it for success. You make the good habits obvious. Put your running shoes right by the door. And you make the bad habits difficult. Move the junk food to a high shelf you can't reach easily. This isn't about willpower. It's about making the right choice the easy choice. Okay, part 3, playing the long game. You've laid the foundation, you've made your habits stick. Now, here's how you build discipline that actually lasts.
It starts with this idea of delaying gratification. Think of it like a muscle you need to train. You're resisting that easy, immediate reward, like just vegging out with some TV, for a much bigger payoff later on. You can train this muscle every day. Just tell yourself, okay, first 15 minutes of English practice, then I can watch the next episode. And this is so crucial, because your willpower is a finite resource. It's like a phone battery, just like this chart shows. It starts high in the morning and it drains all day. So what does that mean? Do your hardest, most important tasks, that really focused study session, that tough workout, in the morning, when your willpower is fully charged.
One last huge strategy for the long game is accountability.
This is all about bringing in a little social leverage. You're making yourself responsible to someone other than, well, just yourself.
And building it can be super simple. Find a workout buddy, join a study group, or just tell a friend what your goal is. The simple act of knowing that somebody else is watching, that someone might ask you about it, it makes it so much harder to quit. We are fundamentally wired not to let other people down.
All right, we've gone through the whole playbook, so let's wrap up with your first step. Here's a quick summary of those key strategies. See how it all just works together? You start tiny, so it's impossible to fail. You build a system in a well-designed space, so it becomes automatic. You manage your energy so you can do it when you're at your best, and you find support so you stay on track. This is how real discipline gets built, not with one single trick, but with a whole system working for you.
And that brings us to the end. But knowing this stuff is one thing. Doing it is what actually matters. So I'll just leave you with this one question. Think about your biggest goal right now. What is the one tiny 2-minute step you can take today to start building your own unshakable self-discipline?